Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Proof to Others. It's been a while since I made a video, so I'll just give you a little bit of an update with what's going on with me before we get into this topic. Is that I just been doing a lot of sports lately, so I finished rugby back in November. Then I just had to relax for the month, for the Christmas season. Just get myself back into Australian rules football, and I'm doing not just Gaelic football, but I'm also going to be playing Canadian football, which is gridiron football, for the first time this year. So this video is going to be a little bit of a heavy video. It's going to be one of the more harder videos I have ever made. So I'll try my best to make things pretty concise and just explain and tell some stories about my time that after the fact I was told I was autistic during my time in junior high. So we'll begin with this. In 2004, me, my mother, and brother, we moved back here from living in Alberta for 7 years. And the junior high I went to down our way goes from grade 6 to grade 9. I started in grade 6. And we had this event, I think it was late September, early October, where there was like the students were just having like a big party. It was like there was like a barbecue, there was like some games, and there was also where there's certain grade 9s that nominated and were campaigning to become school president. So we had to go to the gym, I think early afternoon or early morning or something like that, can't remember. And the grade 9 students were doing their thing, just kind of doing their campaign. So when I first seen that, it was like, yep, you know what? I want to try it out. I want to to campaign and see if I could run for school president when I get to grade 9. And one of the first things I would want to do, now keep in mind, I'm going to probably say this a lot, just for reinsurance, is that this was me back in junior high. Again, you're going to hear me say that a lot. One of the first order of businesses is that I either A, wanted to abolish resource, or B, anyone that couldn't do math, language arts, or social studies, they have to go to resource. So, so I remember this one night, our mother was driving us to a friend's place, or I think somewhere in the city, and I mentioned to my mother, what I wanted to do as a school president. So she was like, you know what, I have to tell my son this. So she told me that I was diagnosed or born with autism. That was the correct word. Born with autism, if I remember correctly. My first initial reaction was I just covered my face and I just burst into tears because I didn't know what autism was, or or whatever. So this is the part where I am going to be like, it gets a little bit hard for me to really say, because even though like I was told I was diagnosed with autism, my life dealing with it was kind of, I shouldn't say dark, but it was kind of like not pretty. So basically, my whole time at junior high after I was diagnosed, oh no, I shouldn't say diagnosed, my God, it's been a long day. Told that I was diagnosed with autism, I was basically in denial. I was in denial. I denied having autism. And another thing too that I want to come out and say that I'm not pleased about back then, but I despised others who were also on the spectrum. Like, I never really went up to someone on the spectrum and be like, yeah, I don't want to hang out with you because you're autistic. I was never that kind of kid. It was more like I was like I didn't want to be in the same room. I didn't want to be in the group. I didn't want to like basically talk to anyone else on the spectrum. Um, but again, I never really like said, you know, said to this person, yeah, yeah, get away, whatever. It was just more so like again, I just didn't want to associate myself with them. And remember, keep in mind, this was me back in junior high, not now. Um, and yeah, it's just because I've done my research with autism during my time in grade 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I even still, throughout that time, still denied of having it. And part of that mindset too is that I felt like I was better than what people told me that I was than having autism, because myself growing up and going to school and having classmates on the spectrum, and you see a kid, like just maybe just having a weird, kind of, I shouldn't say weird, but just kind of like have like a certain tick, or just kind of like doing something certain in the classroom, something that like not like neurotypical kids do, but just like I had one classmate, she was on the spectrum, she used to do this a lot. So like kids will like make fun of that person doing that tick. Obviously, it's not, not good they do it, but kids will just will do like, will just make fun of like those who are just different from them. Again, never liked that. And also, I'm going to just mention like a couple stories about during my time in junior high that have affected my feelings towards autism. Not like others on the spectrum, no, but just kind of like my own type of stories. So with my mindset was that I remember it was maybe like a little bit over a month after I was told that I was diagnosed, is that there was a assistant. Her student actually passed away. I think it was after, either before or after Halloween 2004, due to heart complications. I'm not 100% sure, but it was like heart related. So of course she doesn't had she the assistant didn't have anyone else to kind of look after. So I don't know who came up with the idea of her being my assistant, but that lasted like 30 minutes or at least an hour. And it was just because like, and I wasn't being mean or nasty to her, but it was more like, you know what? No, I don't need your help. Like go, like get out. I didn't really actually tell her to go and get out, but that's just me over exaggerating like what I told her. We were like, no, I don't need you here. I can do this by myself. Um, and actually, so, and that was kind of the thing with me was like, um, I was always that type of guy that was, I wanted to be, I want to prove that I never was diagnosed with autism. I was like, I was just like everyone else, like every neurotypical. I wanted to fit in with everyone. Um, when it came to like I wanted to do the hard test. I wanted to, um, you know, kind of like fit in. And actually, there is another story here. It's actually a sports related story. Um, I wanted to mention, and this actually did, affect me a lot. It especially affected me how I looked at sports back then. So it was grade 7. I was going to my second year playing lacrosse. And I remember it was this, I think the second or third training session. I can't remember, but anyway, I wanted to try to be goalie that year. And so they put me in this one practice session. I think I may have let in maybe like a couple goals, whatever. It wasn't a lot. Um, Not that I can remember. So after that training session, I think it may have been like a couple days or like a week later, because actually it was like just right after, like the day or two after going to, like after that training session, me and my brother, we went back to Alberta for a week for spring break, for March break. That's what it was actually. And we, just spending a week with our dad. And then I think it was right after we, like once we arrived back, my mother got an email from the coach saying that he didn't want me to be in net because of my condition, because he was worried I was gonna freak out. I'm not gonna name the organization. I'm not gonna name the lacrosse team. Um, but yeah, no, it was. But yeah, that really devastated me and how I looked at sports back then, and it really derailed. At least I felt it really derailed my um, confidence, and really made me feel like a bag of garbage, because because this person was saying, because of my condition, I can't play goalie. And actually another thing, so this will be the last story, is that I remember from that same year, the resource teacher that I was dealing with. Now there was a go away party for our substitute teacher that was going to another school, that we had her for about, I think maybe 3 or 4 months, whatever. And so this resource teacher at the time, she comes up and she's like, "Oh, Miles, it's getting too loud in here. So let's just go down to the resource room." Didn't even think, didn't even think there was going to be something else happening in the classroom later on. So, I had to go down to the resource center, because if I didn't, then I might get yelled at. So I go down to the resource center until, I think I was there for like 20 minutes, until the end of the day bell rang, and I get into the bus and everyone's telling me, "Miles, you missed dog pile." I was like, "Wait, what are you talking about, a dog pile?" Apparently, what happened was there was some students from grade 8, maybe one or two from grade 9, that came into the classroom, because they actually have a really good like friendship with the substitute teacher. And what happened was there was a bag of like chocolate or candies, whatever. It was thrown to the middle of the classroom, and everyone was literally fighting over for this dog pot, like for this treat. So when I missed that dog pile, I remember on that bus ride back home, I was fuming. I was really angry. And it's very rare to really get me angry or see me angry, because I'm a very calm and collected person. But no, this day I was like red in the face. I was ready to lash out because I missed like one of the more funner times at my junior high. And I remember I went to my room. I didn't really speak to my grandmother, or may have did, but everything went a million miles an hour. And I went to my room, and I will confess, whenever I get mad, I break my own stuff. Like I never break anyone else's. I will break my own stuff. So I had a baby picture on top of the wall that was like just like hovering above like my bed, and it was probably one of my favorite baby pictures. And I took it and I ripped it up into like pieces, just and just anger. And I toss it into the bin that was in my room to make sure my mom didn't see. I was like, and afterwards, like, oh my God, what did I do? I ripped up my favorite baby picture, and it no longer exists. There's no other backup copy. I did it, despite of being angry because of me, not just the dog pile, I should say, not saying like goodbye to my substitute teacher that we had for a while. And also too, there was I think it was like a day or two after that I wrote a note to that resource teacher. I can't remember what it was, but all I can, or you know, I'll just paraphrase it. It was more like, you know what? Just because you think I have autism, I'm better than what you think. It was kind of like, it wasn't really like a complete nasty letter to her. It was more like, yeah, you know what? I just, I don't need you or don't need your help, all that thing. Like I mentioned like earlier, is that, again, my mindset back in junior high. So, with that, those are the stories I can tell you from junior high. Um, and really, it wasn't until like, I'll cap it off with this. I'll kind of come near to the end of this. So, it wasn't until really early grade 10 or maybe just before grade 10 that I started to realize, you know what? This is I actually do have autism. So it was one day I was looking through some old bins, and we were living in a place just outside of another place outside the city. So I go through this bin, and I came across this sheet of paper. It was from the pediatrician that my parents dealt with in 1997, 1998. And so what it was my official um, diagnosis papers. Oh no, it was official diagnosis paper. And it stated that like Miles was diagnosed with PDD, also known as autism. So as soon as I seen that and I started kind of reading everything, it's like, you know what, this is an official paper. I'll admit I started to, bawl my eyes out, and it actually finally came to realization, you know, finally came to me is that, you know what, I am autistic. Um, to me back then it was a hard pill to swallow. Um, but I mean, even though my life trying to deal with it in junior high was rough, and even I wasn't like that much of a great kid back then. There's a lot that has changed from almost 20 years ago to now, where it's like, you know what, I've embraced myself as this person on the spectrum. I embrace others. I enjoy hanging out with people on the spectrum. I want to do more for the autism community, and this video, and the reason why I make these videos is to showcase, you know kind of like my life dealing with autism. It's not a bad thing. Like, I know as a kid, even myself at that age, doing research, and you're still not understanding, you're not, you know, you try to be like everyone else. And I mean, the reason why I made this video is because, we all go through these phases, and, whether like it it's more like, if someone was going through the same situation as I did, they have this or they have that, they deny it and despise others with it. It's like, you know what? There's resources, and there's also other things to help educate you with this particular thing. Like I always, because even now today, there's a lot of things that people are still making fun of autism. They're still, you know, kind of like crapping on the spectrum. And it's hard to really see now. It really is, because in a perfect world, no one shouldn't be, despising or hating each other because they have this or they are that. And that's the thing I find too with some content creators, is that, like, it's great they tell their on the spectrum, that is, they tell their stories and what's it like growing up with it, or how they got diagnosed. But I find that they're maybe not giving back to the community, and that's the one thing that I want to do. And there's actually quite a few events I want to do with my with the autism union here in my province. I want to do, and like I said, give back to the community. I'm gonna end this off because with one more thing, and this is actually going to be, might get emotional here, so keep that in mind. If I was to go back, you know, close to just 18, like go back in time, see myself back in junior high, what would I say to myself back then? To my younger self, I would say, you know, um, never, you know, don't hate yourself. Don't hate others because this is what you have and what they have. You're a better kid. You got a lot of life in you, and never give up. There's still tons of world of opportunity to accomplish goals in life and give back to the community. Yeah. Again, it got a little emotional there, but anyway, um, that's it for my video. I know it wasn't like the easiest video to make. I may have like kind of blabbered on like I usually do in my videos. But I just wanted to reassure that this is what I was like back in junior high when was I was told I was autistic. I'm a lot better person now, today. It's 2023. And again, the reason for this video is to, help someone who is going through the same situation or who has been, and, hopefully I can help out. I've rambled on, so I hope you stayed this long for the video, and I hope you've learned something about me and you learned something from it. Really, I can only say is that, educate yourself, give back to the community, the autism community, if you're part of it, or even if you know someone on the spectrum, support them and help them, because I'm going to try to do a whole lot this year. Okay? Have a good night.